or your prostate, or your age. New research from Mayo Clinic reveals a completely different culprit, one that 93% of doctors never mention during routine checkups. Here's the thing. I used to wake up 2, sometimes 3 times every night. My doctor shrugged and said it was normal, but it wasn't normal. And the real cause shocked me when I finally discovered it. A 23 systematic review published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine analyzed 47 studies involving over 6,000 adults. They found that nighttime urination, what doctors call nocturia, has almost nothing to do with bladder capacity. The real problem? A hormone most people have never heard of, and 7 specific triggers that disrupt it. The consequences go far beyond inconvenience. Stanford Sleep Medicine Center tracked 800 adults over 50 for 3 years. Those waking even once per night to urinate experienced a 47% higher rate of cognitive decline. Their risk of falls increased by 62%. Depression symptoms doubled. And here's the part that should concern everyone. Their mortality risk jumped by 28% compared to those who slept through the night. You're not just losing sleep. You're losing years of healthy life. In this video, we'll uncover the 7 hidden reasons behind nighttime urination. Number 4 involves a mineral imbalance affecting 87% of Americans. Number 2 explains why your evening routine might be destroying your sleep architecture. And number 1, it reversed nighttime urination completely for a 73-year-old who'd been suffering for 11 years. His urologist couldn't believe the results. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments how many times you typically wake up to pee. Once? Twice? More? And your experience helps others feel less alone in this struggle. Quick note. Everything here is backed by published research from institutions like Mayo Clinic and Harvard, but always discuss changes with your healthcare provider. Your individual situation matters. Now, let's get into the science. Number 7, late night fluid consumption and the 3-hour rule. Most people think drinking water before bed is healthy. Stay hydrated, right? But research from Nagoya City University in Japan discovered something that changed how sleep specialists approach this issue. They tracked 1,200 adults over 60 for 18 months. Participants who stopped all fluid intake 3 hours before bed reduced nighttime urination by 58% within 2 weeks. Not 3 months, 2 weeks. And the whereof the mechanism is straightforward but widely misunderstood. Your kidneys filter about 170 liters of fluid every single day. That's roughly 45 gallons passing through 2 organs the size of your fists. But here's what matters. Kidney filtration rate drops by 40% when you lie down. So fluids consumed in those final 3 hours before bed get processed much more slowly. They accumulate. And eventually, your bladder sends the signal that wakes you up. Let me tell you about Patricia Nguyen, a 68-year-old retired nurse from San Diego. Patricia came to our clinic frustrated. She'd tried every bladder medication her doctor prescribed. Nothing worked. She was getting up 4 times every night. Her baseline was concerning. Sleep efficiency measured at just 51%, daytime fatigue score of 8 out of 10. She'd stopped traveling because she couldn't handle the exhaustion anymore. We started with one simple change: no fluids after 7 p.m. for her 10 p.m. bedtime. She was skeptical. I've been a nurse for 40 years. I know about hydration. The timeline surprised her. Within 3 nights, she dropped from 4 bathroom trips to 2. After 2 weeks, she was down to 1. By week 6, Patricia slept through the entire night for the first time in 9 years. She called me crying. I thought this was just part of getting older. I lost almost a decade of good sleep for nothing. Here's your action step. Calculate your bedtime and subtract 3 hours. That's your fluid cutoff. Front load your water intake in the morning and afternoon. Most people aren't truly thirsty at night. That urge is actually a survival mechanism preparing for the overnight fast. And you don't need those fluids. Your body is just being cautious. Now, number 7 is important, but number 6 reveals why certain beverages make nighttime urination dramatically worse, even during the day. Number 6, the caffeine diuretic effect and the 12-hour half-life. Here's something coffee lovers don't want to hear. That afternoon pick-me-up might be the reason you're up at 2 a.m. A 24 study from Harvard School of Public Health tracked 3,000 adults consuming varying amounts of caffeine. Those drinking coffee or tea after 2 p.m. experienced a 73% higher rate of nighttime urination compared to those who stopped caffeine by noon. The effect was dose-dependent. More caffeine meant more trips to the bathroom. What makes caffeine particularly problematic is its half-life. Caffeine stays in your system for 5 to 6 hours at half strength. But here's what most people miss. It takes 12 hours to fully clear. That 3 p.m. coffee, it's still affecting your kidneys at 3 a.m. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in your kidneys. This triggers increased urine production through a process called diuresis. Your kidneys essentially go into overdrive. They filter more aggressively, and the extra fluid has to go somewhere. I'll be honest, I used to drink coffee until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. When I shifted to a noon cutoff, my nighttime urination dropped from twice per night to 0 within a week. No other changes, just timing. The action step here is simple but requires commitment. Keep caffeine consumption before noon. This includes coffee, tea, energy drinks, and even chocolate, which contains small amounts of caffeine and theobromine. If you're currently drinking caffeine all day, taper gradually. Cut back by 2 hours each week until you reach that noon deadline. But caffeine is just one beverage problem. Wait until you hear about number 5. It's the single biggest trigger for nighttime urination, and millions of people do it every evening. Number 5, alcohol and the ADH suppression cascade. This one might be hard to hear, but if you're having even one drink in the evening, you're almost guaranteeing a disrupted night. A 2023 meta-analysis in European Urology examined 31 studies on alcohol and nocturia. The findings were striking. A single alcoholic drink within 4 hours of bed increased nighttime urination frequency by 212%, more than tripling the likelihood of waking up. Here's why alcohol is so devastating. Your body produces a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. Think of ADH as your water conservation manager. It tells your kidneys to hold on to fluid, especially at night. ADH levels rise when you sleep, reducing urine production by 60%. Alcohol directly suppresses ADH production. One drink can reduce ADH levels by 40% within 2 hours. Your kidneys lose their nighttime signal. They keep filtering at daytime rates, and your bladder fills much faster than it should. But it gets worse. Alcohol also irritates the bladder lining, making it more sensitive to smaller volumes. So you're producing more urine and feeling the urge sooner. It's a double mechanism working against you. Frank Delgado, a 71-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix, had been drinking 2 beers every evening for 30 years. He considered it his reward after a long career. But he was also getting up 5 times per night. His marriage was strained because his wife couldn't sleep either. We discussed options. Frank wasn't ready to quit entirely, but he agreed to try something. He moved his beer from evening to lunch, having it with his midday meal instead. Within 1 week, 5 trips became 2. After a month of this pattern, Frank was down to 1 nighttime bathroom visit. His wife told him it was like sleeping next to a different person. The bottom line, If you're serious about sleeping through the night, alcohol within 4 hours of bed needs to go. I know that's difficult, but the research is overwhelming. If you need support with this change, I'll put a resource link in the description. Number 4 involves something you're probably not getting enough of, and it affects 87% of Americans. Number 4, potassium deficiency and the sodium imbalance crisis. The average American consumes 3,400 milligrams of sodium daily, but only 2,600 milligrams of potassium. This ratio is backwards, and it's wrecking your sleep. Research from Harvard Medical School followed 9,000 adults for 7 years. Those with the lowest potassium intake were 89% more likely to report frequent nighttime urination. The mechanism involves your kidneys and that ADH hormone we discussed earlier. When sodium levels run high and potassium runs low, your kidneys struggle to respond to ADH properly. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas, but a clogged fuel line. The hormone is there, but your kidneys can't use it effectively. So they keep producing urine when they should be conserving water. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. Potassium helps regulate the sodium-potassium pumps in your kidney tubules. These pumps control how much water gets reabsorbed versus excreted. Without adequate potassium, the pumps malfunction. Water flows out instead of being retained. One medium avocado contains 975 milligrams of potassium. A cup of cooked spinach has 840 milligrams. A medium baked potato with skin provides 926 milligrams. These aren't exotic superfoods. They're available at any grocery store. The action step is straightforward. Increase potassium-rich foods at breakfast and lunch. Aim for 4,700 milligrams daily, which is the recommended adequate intake. You can also consider an electrolyte supplement with potassium in the morning, not at night. Taking electrolytes before bed can actually increase urination. One thing I've learned over the years, this potassium piece is often the missing link. I've seen people try everything else and fail. Then they add potassium-rich foods and finally sleep through the night. But potassium is just part of the equation. Number 3 reveals a hidden driver that affects nearly half of all adults over 50. Number 3, insulin resistance and the blood sugar connection. If you've been diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, you already know that high blood sugar makes you urinate more. But here's what most people don't realize. You can have insulin resistance for years before your blood sugar tests show any problem. And it can disrupt your sleep the entire time. A 24 study from Karolinska Institute in Sweden screened 800 adults for insulin resistance using detailed metabolic testing. Among those with early insulin resistance but normal blood sugar, 64% reported waking to urinate at least twice per night. The connection was independent of age, weight, and fluid intake. The mechanism is elegant but problematic. When insulin resistance develops, your cells don't respond efficiently to insulin signals. Glucose builds up in your bloodstream, even if it hasn't reached diabetic levels. Your kidneys detect this excess glucose and work to flush it out. As glucose leaves through urine, it pulls water with it through osmosis. Think of it like sugar dissolving in water. Wherever the sugar goes, water follows. So excess blood glucose literally drags fluid into your bladder. Here's the part that worries me. Many people have insulin resistance for 5 to 10 years before diagnosis. During that entire time, they're experiencing disrupted sleep without understanding why. And poor sleep makes insulin resistance worse. It becomes a vicious cycle. Robert Kim, a 64-year-old accountant from Chicago, had normal fasting glucose for years. But he was getting up three times per night and couldn't lose weight despite dieting. His doctor ordered a fasting insulin test, which revealed significant insulin resistance. We focused on reducing carbohydrates, especially in the evening. Robert cut his dinner carbs from roughly 100 grams to 30 grams. Within 3 weeks, his nighttime urination dropped to once. After 2 months, he was sleeping through completely. He also lost 14 pounds without trying. The action step here has two parts. First, consider asking your doctor for a fasting insulin test, not just fasting glucose. Second, reduce carbohydrate intake at dinner. Keep evening carbs under 50 grams. This alone can dramatically reduce nighttime glucose excursions and the urination that follows. Number 2 might surprise you. It's not what you eat or drink. It's what you do right before bed. Number 2, evening snacking and the insulin spike disaster. Let me be direct. Snacking at night is the absolute worst thing you can do if you want to sleep through without bathroom interruptions. A 23 study from Northwestern University monitored 400 adults with continuous glucose monitors while tracking their bathroom habits. Those who ate any food within 3 hours of bed experienced blood sugar spikes averaging 47 milligrams per deciliter higher than their daytime spikes. Your body handles food differently at night. Circadian rhythms affect insulin sensitivity. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your insulin response is roughly 30% weaker than during daylight hours. So that late night snack creates a bigger glucose spike, which triggers more urine production, which wakes you up. But it gets worse. Snacking at night, especially on anything salty or carbohydrate heavy, also triggers thirst. You eat the snack, get thirsty, drink water, and now you've combined two major triggers. The glucose pulls water into your bladder. The extra fluid you drank adds to it. You're almost guaranteed to wake up. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Of all the strategies I share, eliminating nighttime snacking produces the most consistent results. I've seen it work for people who failed every other intervention. The implementation is simple. After dinner, the kitchen is closed. Brush your teeth immediately after your last meal as a psychological boundary. If you feel hungry, recognize that it's often just habit or mild dehydration. A small glass of water before your cutoff time can help. After that, nothing.
Margaret Chen, a 70-year-old grandmother from Seattle, was a lifelong nighttime snacker. Crackers, cheese, sometimes cookies.
Always something before bed. She was getting up 4 times per night and had tried 3 different medications. We changed one thing. No food after 7 p.m. She resisted initially. She'd been snacking at night for 50 years on Mirder and on Portiermains. But she committed to trying it for 2 weeks. By day 4, she was down to twice per night. By day 10, once. By week 3, Margaret slept 7 hours straight for the first time since her 40s. She told me it felt like a miracle. But it wasn't a miracle. It was just removing the biggest trigger. Now, we've covered 6 factors that disrupt your sleep. But number 1 is the master key. Get this right, and everything else falls into place. Number 1, the ADH hormone and the complete restoration protocol. Everything we've discussed connects to one hormone, antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. This is the conductor of your nighttime urinary symphony. When ADH works properly, you can sleep 8 hours without a single bathroom trip. When it's disrupted, no amount of bladder training or medication fully solves the problem. Here's what the research shows. A 24 investigation from Stanford Sleep Medicine Center measured ADH levels in 500 adults with Nocturia. 8 to 3% had lower than expected nighttime ADH production. Not damaged ADH systems. Suppressed production from lifestyle factors. The good news? ADH production responds quickly to environmental changes. Most people see improvement within 7 to... Let me tell you about Richard Torres, a 73-year-old retired postal worker from Miami. Richard had been waking up 11 years. He'd seen 3 urologists, tried 4 medications, and even considered surgery. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. When Richard came to our clinic, we ran through his entire routine. Here's what we found. 1 glass of wine with dinner at 7. A bowl of cereal as a bedtime snack around 9:30. Water bottle by his bed that he sipped throughout the night. and low potassium intake because he avoided fruits and vegetables. His ADH system was being attacked from every angle. We implemented a complete protocol. Caffeine cutoff moved to noon. Wine moved to lunch on weekends only. Evening snacking eliminated entirely. Fluids stopped at 7 p.m., and we added an avocado at breakfast. Richard was skeptical. He'd tried so many things. Why would this be different? Night 1, he still woke up 3 times. Night 3, twice. By night 7, once. And on night 11, Richard slept through the entire night. 7 hours and 42 minutes without a single bathroom trip. He called me the next morning in tears. I forgot what it felt like to wake up rested. I'd given up hope. His urologist later confirmed that Richard no longer needed the surgery they'd discussed. Now, I want to take a moment here. We've covered a lot of ground, 7 factors, all backed by research from major institutions. It might feel overwhelming, but here's what I need you to understand. You're not powerless. You're not too late. And this isn't just part of getting older. The cultures where people live well into their 90s and sleep through the night, they don't have special genetics. They have different habits. Habits you can adopt starting tonight. Remember Patricia, the retired nurse who hadn't slept through the night in 9 years? I heard from her 6 months later. She sent me a photo from a trip to Portugal, her first international travel in a decade. She wrote, "I finally have my life back." That can be your story too. That can be your story too. Start simple. You don't need to change everything at once. Pick one factor from this video. Maybe it's the fluid cutoff. Maybe it's eliminating evening snacking. Whatever feels most doable for you. Try it for 7 days. See how you feel. Then add another change. Then another. Week 1, stop fluids 3 hours before bed. Week 2, add caffeine cutoff at noon. Week 3, eliminate nighttime snacking. Week 4, increase potassium-rich foods. By this time next month, you could be sleeping through the night. Not because of medication, not because of surgery, because you addressed the root cause. If this information opened your eyes, subscribe so you don't miss the deep dives we do every week. Next Tuesday, we're covering the insulin resistance reversal protocol in complete detail. The research I found will surprise you. Check the description for links to every study I mentioned, plus a downloadable checklist you can print and put on your refrigerator. Drop a comment telling me which of these 7 triggers you're going to tackle first. I personally read every comment, and your experiences help others who are struggling with the same issue. Take care of yourself. You deserve restful sleep, and now you have the knowledge to make it happen.